Having a run-in.
Sharon Lee,
Here.
Mary Miller, Kelsey Haskell,
Here.
Thad Rose,
Here.
Derek Bartlett,
Here.
Francine Hall,
Here.
Joe Brinksplenny, Bob Walters, Ron Russo, Tuffy Thompson, Dean Dupree. Thank you.
Ron said he had to text me, said he had another meeting to go to. Council, we have Attorney General here, and Steve Gunn's getting on and bringing up the resolutions to go over the alcohol content resolution, and it came out of I believe ABC. Did you guys approve that resolution or take action on that matter in your commission?
Mr. Chairman, that resolution was from the council prior to us. All we did was approve it. It was already approved. I just believe there was taxes that weren't being collected. And then the percentage of alcohol on cans was addressed in there as well. But Mr. Gunn can go over the changes with us. It sounds like the council before us to put a lot of work into that revision of the ordinance. Thank you.
Okay.
Is that the ABC ordinance?
Yes.
That's the one that was put in the.
Use your mic, Ms. Whiteboard.
That's already been put in the Federal Register and everything, right, Steve?
Who's not on yet?
Or what do you call it? Advertised or whatever in the Federal Register? Published, yeah.
Yes, I think it was published in the Federal Register, and that was the holdup from when the council approved it during President Trump's term, and it never got published in there. And recently, last year, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, I believe it was May or June of 2022 is when it got published by the Federal Register. Thank you.
And I think to change and what the law did was gave the ABC Commission a lot of authority to make decisions on a local level where we didn't have that previously. And then, but this to regulate the change in alcohol percentage. If we want a lower level of alcohol to be sold on the reservation, we can do that by resolution, I believe. But council has to take action, and that's what we're gonna consider today. Mr. Steve Gunn's on at this time, so we can give him the floor. Can you hear us, Steve?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just emailing a copy of this to staff so that they can print it out. You want me to read it though into the record?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to just go over that? We were trying to recite the history of it, but you probably know have a better chronology of it than we do. If you want to share that with the council, some of them are kind of new to this in a way. So
Sure. Those amendments. Secretary of the Interior and published in the Federal Register. And one of the amendments allows the ABC Commission to adopt rules and regulations to implement Ordinance 48, including regulations to implement a section of the ordinance which is 4-1-10, which authorizes the prohibition against introduction, manufacture, for sale, or transport of specific types of beverages, alcoholic beverages, which are deemed to have a harmful impact on the health and welfare of the tribe. And the procedure for adopting a rule or regulation banning a particular beverage is that the council makes the recommendation to the commission by a resolution. And then it asks the commission to consider the rule or regulation. And then the commission would have the authority to adopt the rule or regulation. And so what this is a resolution of the tribal council which proposes regulations prohibiting the sale of malt liquor beverages on the reservation. And it defines malt liquor as any malt beverage with an alcohol content not lower than 6% by volume, with or without additives such as artificial or natural flavors, sugar, and caffeine. And so it's a resolution that if the council adopts it, it would then form, and the commission would consider whether to adopt the regulations. There is a procedure that they have to follow, which involves giving notice to the public, letting the public comment, considering any amendments and so forth. So I've sent it to staff to make copies, but I'm happy to read the proposed resolution into the record and then answer any questions that people have.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just start with Mr. Chairman, is there a screen or anything? Or should I put this on the screen or just read it?
Yeah. Mr. Rosewood.
Mr. Gunn, can you email it to the members of the council?
Do you have Caden's email? Or why don't you email? Some have their computers.
Yeah, I didn't hear the name.
Rose, Mr. Councilman Rose.
I'm not sure I have emails. Hold on.
Do you have Caden's email? And then she can forward it to everybody.
What is,
You can just send it to me. I can forward to Caden.
oh, Caden Dupree? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna send it to Caden right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I'll just start reading it, and then when people get it, they can read it on their computers. Okay, the third whereas clause, whereas the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Council adopted ordinance number 48, the Alcoholic Beverages Control Law of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe to regulate the possession, consumption, and importation of alcohol into the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation and the surrounding Indian country under the jurisdiction of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And whereas by resolution number 43-2023-CR, the Tribal Council approved and adopted amendments to ordinance number 48. And whereas ordinance number 48 as amended on March 10, 2023 was published in the Federal Register by the Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs, acting for and on behalf of the Secretary of the Interior on May 11, 2023, in accordance with the Act of August 15, 1953, 67 Stat 586, 11 USC, Section 1161. And whereas ordinance number 48 as amended on March 10, 2023 became effective on June 11, 2023, which was not less than 30 days after publication in the Federal Register. And whereas Section 3-1-12 of Ordinance Number 48 as amended authorizes the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission to adopt rules and regulations to implement Ordinance Number 48, including rules and regulations to implement Section 4-1-10 of Ordinance 48, which authorizes the prohibition against the introduction, manufacture for sale, sale or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale of specific types of alcoholic beverages which are deemed to have a harmful impact on the health and welfare of the tribe and its members. And whereas Section 4-1-10 of the ordinance provides that the tribal council may, by tribal council resolution, make a recommendation to the commission that it consider a rule or regulation prohibiting the introduction, manufacture for sale, sale or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale of a particular alcoholic beverage. And whereas the tribal council hereby finds and declares that there is an epidemic of addiction to malt liquor on the reservation, and that excessive consumption of malt liquor is associated with many negative health consequences, including addiction, liver disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, cancer, weakening of the immune system, learning and memory problems, mental health problems, including depression and anxiety, as well as obesity and diabetes. And whereas the tribal council hereby finds and declares that malt liquor beverages have a harmful impact on the health and welfare of the tribe and its members, and that to protect the health and welfare of the tribe, its members, and other residents of the reservation, the commission should consider adopting regulations to prohibit the introduction, manufacture for sale, sale or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale of malt liquor beverages on the reservation. Now, therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Section 4-1-10A1 of the ordinance of Ordinance Number 48, the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe as amended on March 10, 2023, the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Council hereby makes a recommendation to the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission that it consider adopting the following proposed regulations to prohibit the introduction, manufacture for sale, sale or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale of malt liquor beverages on the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. And then it sets forth proposed regulations. Proposed regulations prohibiting the sale of malt liquor beverages on the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. Section 1, findings and purpose. The Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe here finds and declares that A, the excessive consumption of malt liquor beverages is associated with many negative health consequences, including addiction, liver disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, cancer, weakening of the immune system, learning and memory problems, mental health problems, including depression, anxiety, as well as obesity and diabetes. B, there is an epidemic of addiction to malt liquor beverages on the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. C, malt liquor beverages have a harmful impact on the health and welfare of the tribe and its members. D, to protect the health and welfare of the tribe, its members, and other residents of the reservation, the tribe must enact regulations to prohibit the sale and consumption of malt liquor beverages on the reservation. Section 2, authority. A, these regulations are enacted by the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission pursuant to sections 3-1-12 and 4-1-10 of Ordinance 48, the Alcoholic Beverages Control Law of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. B, pursuant to section 4-1-10A1 of Ordinance 48 and by resolution number blank 2023-CR, the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Council recommended that the commission consider adopting regulations prohibiting the introduction, manufacture for sale, sale or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale of malt liquor beverages on the reservation. C, in enacting these regulations, the commission followed the procedures set forth in section 3-1-12 of Ordinance number 48. Section 3, definitions. As used in these regulations, A, the term malt liquor shall mean any malt beverage with an alcohol content not lower than 6% alcohol by volume, with or without additives such as artificial or natural flavors, sugar, and caffeine. And B, all other terms shall have the meanings ascribed to them in ordinance number 48. Section 4, prohibition against sale of malt liquor. A, no person or licensee shall introduce, manufacture for sale, sell, or offer to keep for sale, or transport for sale malt liquor beverages on the reservation. B, the following is a non-exhaustive list of malt liquor beverages that are included in and subject to the prohibition set forth in this section. Here, insert a list of prohibited malt liquor beverages. Section 5, notice, the Commission shall distribute these regulations free of charge to all licensees within 20 days of their final adoption by the Commission. Section 6, penalties. Pursuant to Section 4-1-10C of Ordinance number 48, and in addition to any other civil penalty provided for in Ordinance number 48, any licensee who violates this section shall be subject to a civil fine not to exceed $500 for each violation. Be it further resolved that the ABC Commission shall consider whether to adopt the foregoing proposed regulations by following the procedures set forth in Section 3-1-12 of Ordinance 48, and then the final resolution, or be it resolved clause, nothing in this resolution diminishes, divests, alters, or otherwise affects any inherent treaty, statutory, or other rights of the tribe, etc. The one thing that is not inserted here, and the members of the Commission can, I think, is the list of prohibited beverages, and I think the Commission probably would prefer not to. I guess you can either have a list of beverages by name, or you can just have the definition, which is any malt beverage with an alcohol content 6% or higher. Probably best to strike that section. So I'll make that change.
So, any questions, council members, or? Should be on your computer.
I have ordinance 48, the amended version, on my computer, but I don't have the documents he's submitting.
Your staff has it, if you want to get it from them. Yep, Mr. Brinksmoney?
Okay, quick question. So the resolution prohibits malt liquor that's over 6% to be sold here on the reservation. Is that correct, Steve? If he's
Yes, the resolution doesn't do it, but the resolution recommends that the Commission adopt regulations.
okay, thank you.
And those regulations would do it.
Rousseau, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gunn. Can you hear me okay? Mr. Gunn? Stephen Gunn?
I can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. So your resolution, it talks about malt liquor like it's one of the only causing problems of all the health and safety risks that you've expressed explicitly in the resolution. So your resolution that you're presenting is basically painting malt liquor as the perpetrator of these issues that are affecting the health and and welfare of our tribal members. And I was just kind of curious, why we're limiting that to the malt liquor. I know we've taken actions in the past in regards to the high sugar content in some of these alcohols. I know alcohol is a byproduct of sugar, but the juices and the still reserves, I don't know if those are covered under this malt liquor, but I'd really like this. I think this resolution, first of all, it took a long time to get to where it's at today, and it's just a suggestion that a commission does something. So I appreciate your efforts, but I really think you just wasted your time because this is just a senseless resolution. So thank you for wasting your time. And to any of my colleagues on the council, I think that we're doing something right now. We're not. Thank you.
Got Mr. Rose and then Mr. Underwoods.
Motion to approve this resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we got a motion to approve, second by Mr. Brinksplenny. Mr. Underwoods, you still want to comment?
Yeah, Chairman, Steve, Mr. Gunn, that's Bryce. Some of the complaints a while ago on this malt liquor, certain drinks that they had formaldehyde in it to help preserve, the body when it dies. That was a allegation made, but do you know exactly what ingredients are in malt liquor that are, they were talking around about these drinks that what keeps them cold is that chemical and what that chemical does to the body. Have you ever heard that, Mr. Gunn? Maybe I'm wrong on saying formaldehyde, but there's some kind of chemical in there, kind of like formaldehyde, that keeps it cold. They proved it to me. It's hot that day, and that can was still cold. So I don't know if they're pulling a joke on me or, because I didn't know. But that's what they were talking about. I met the guys that were drinking it and were talking that, telling me about what's in it.
It's from the mouth. Council members, we got a motion to approve and a second. Make sure we have enough for the call.
All it is, Chairman, is excluding these, they're not listed yet. Are you gonna get them listed or what? On that last page?
In section 4, where it had a place to insert a list, I've taken that out. So section 4 would read in its entirety, section 4, prohibition against sale of malt liquor. No person or licensee shall introduce, manufacture for sale, sell, or offer to keep for sale or transport for sale malt liquor beverages on the reservation.
Chairman, can we get that list of, inserted list of prohibited malt liquor beverages? Do we have a list is the question.
Made to the resolution to take out section B, which has the language that Mr. In the Woods is talking about, the list.
And then
So,
there's B on one page.
Mr. In the Woods,
Chairman.
there would be no list. It would just be any malt beverage with an alcohol content 6% or greater. And, if the commission decides it wants to add a list, it has every right. It can do that. It can add a list. But this recommended, regulation wouldn't have a list. The commission can put one in there if it wants to.
Chairman, I'm unclear on this now, because he said that B, but that B is on the page by itself. So it's a page by itself, and then the B I was mentioning is what he said was the one that was supposed to be taken out. And the one, the B by itself is there's an epidemic of addiction in malt liquor. That's all it says.
Which B are you referring to, Mr. Gunn?
Section 4B, not section 1.
Section 4B.
So you're striking that then?
Are you striking section 4B?
Yes, and I said that while I was reading it, and then again now, just so everyone knows what they're voting on. And I think that was the wish of the ABC Commission when we met, that there not be a specific list, but that the definition of malt liquor be, any beverage with an alcohol content over a certain percentage by volume. So it's 4B, which would not be included. It would just, section 4 would just say prohibition against sale of malt liquor. And then it would just say, no person or licensee shall introduce, manufacture for sale, sell, or offer to keep for sale or transport for sale malt liquor beverages on the reservation, period. And that would be the end of section 4.
One more question before, Mr. Gunn, is there any other regulatory commission that's doing exactly what the ABC Commission is doing about malt liquor? And do they have a list of malt liquor? Any other government, tribal government, or have they done this, or is this the first we're doing?
I don't know if this is the first, but there's always new malt liquor beverages are being created. And so if you have a list, you would have to make sure that it's not exclusive, that you're better off just having a definition that would capture any new product that might be manufactured in the future, as long as it's got an alcohol content 6% or higher by volume. So I'm not aware of a list that another government has published. I know that the revenue director and I have looked for lists, but it's kind of difficult because, like I said, new beverages are being introduced with new names all the time, and so you want to make sure you just have a definition that's broad enough to capture all those new beverages that come in later.
So would that be Mr. Gunn, did Lynette do any calculations on that amount? If we do this, then it's good. I support it, but any cost comparison? That's affecting our taxes since 2019. And I believe this would be an amendment to possibly the code and possibly a law and order code amendment. If that's the case, then we should have that reflection that it's amendment into the law and order code and possibly tax code. What's your take on that?
I really couldn't hear everything that you said, Mr. In the Woods. I think you're talking about amending the law and order code, but I don't know.
I was saying that there's going to be a tax comparison from 2019 to 2026, and that if Lynette did a comparison, a cost comparison, which we need to do, is these amendments into the tax code and the law and order code. I believe they are. So should that reflect, a resolution reflect that? What's your take on that? No, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The main one is the law and order code, where it does define, methamphetamine and alcohol and all that in our law and order code. We're amending Ordinance 48. I believe that would this be amendment in there reflecting that regarding malt liquor?
Regulations within 20 days after they're adopted by the commission. And so this is not amending Ordinance 48. It's not amending the Law and Order Code. It's just a regulation adopted pursuant to Ordinance 48.
Mr. Russo, Mr. Bringsmoney.
Thank you, Chairman. This kind of resolution is really demeaning to this body of a sovereign nation, that you're almost deceiving us to think that if we want to banish something or if we want to prohibit something, we have to go through a commission to do that. We don't. If we want to take action to ban malt liquor because it's killing our members, then we make a motion to ban it, get a second, and then majority vote, and it's done. That's it. If we're tired of the homelessness and we want people to have houses, same thing. Make a motion to build houses, second, done. But we don't do that here. So I'm saying this resolution is very demeaning to this body of government and our authority. And it's deceiving the younger council reps that don't understand the federal jurisdiction and the authority, plenary power that we enjoy as a tribal government. And it's just an insult to the treaties. So if malt liquor is that bad, if we want to take a stand against it, we don't make a resolution to advise a commission, which is us. We just, two or three of us sit on that commission and then ban it, or think about, it's a suggestion for them to ban it. So it's just, I don't hope that my colleagues on the council aren't getting lost in the sauce under the advisement of Mr. Gunn, foolishly leading us astray. If you don't like malt liquor, make a motion to ban the sale and use of malt liquor on the reservation. Done. But this resolution here is leading us astray. I'll still vote yes for it because that's what you guys want to do, but it's foolish.
Okay, Mr. Bringsmoney and Mrs. Hall, and we'll vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's just providing a process as far as the liquor goes, or the malt liquor. We all know that we're losing tribal members at a younger age, because of the, basically the byproducts that are in this drink. And it's a cheaper type of alcohol, malt liquor, and it's what mainly our people, that are using can afford. They hustle up enough to buy themselves a can, but it's taking their lives and deteriorating their body at a faster rate. It's the byproducts that are within it are what's really dangerous. And if you just read up on it, just punch it in your computer and it'll pop up all of the harmful chemicals that are in it. So, it's given a process. I know some of our tribal members have been involved with this for over 10 years. So it's not just recently. And they've been trying to get some of the laws changed. And I was informed that, because of the issues, and I think Mr. Ender was talking about it with the embalming. They're having trouble embalming some of the bodies because of the byproducts that are in the chemicals, and it fills the bloodstream. So yeah, it's a very serious issue, and I think this provides a process for it. I'm supporting it, and I hope we can get this taken care of and off the floor so we can continue on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mrs. Hall? And then Ms. Ring.
Yeah, Mr. Gunn, this is Mrs. Hall. I'm the District 5 one of the District 5 representatives. And when I was listening to you read this resolution, that's the first thing that popped up in my mind was the giving up the way that, okay, let me back up. Giving up sovereign immunity to, or delegating that to this commission. When we have to, what you're saying is that we, as a governing body, can make an amendment or by resolution, but it has to go to the ABC Commission, and then we seek their approval. And as I'm looking at the old code, there's no mention of that. And I'm wondering when did this happen and why did it happen? Because this is diminishing this tribe, even though we do have members of the tribal council sitting on that ABC commission, you're diluting the authority of the full body. And I can see what Mr. Russo said, because, and that's the concern that I have, because to me it's, we are giving up. We're diluting our own authority to regulate. And the intent of Ordinance 48 did not give away that authority to anybody or anything. And now you're saying that this ABC commission now has more authority than the tribal council. Yes, Mr. Gunn, may I? Ordinance does not do that, but yet what you're saying here undermines that. If this tribal council must issues a resolution, and then we want some changes, then it goes to that ABC commission. What's to say, or what guarantee do we have that commission can say, oh, tribal council, they were way out in left field. We're not going to adopt this. I mean, that's what you're saying. then you need to use different language, because the language you're using, that's what the intent of the language that you're using.
To explain it, and I'm sorry if I'm not doing a good enough job. Federal law does allow tribes to regulate the sale of liquor on the reservation, but it requires, and we may not like this, we may disagree with it, but current federal law requires that the tribe's liquor laws must be approved by the Secretary of the Interior and published in the Federal Register before they become effective, okay? The tribe has amended Ordinance 48 on more than one occasion, and its amendments ultimately were approved by the Secretary and published, but it's a lengthy process. And so to avoid the need to get the approval of the Secretary of the Interior every time the tribe wants to adopt a new rule, like this new rule, which is the prohibition on the sale of malt liquor, instead of amending the ordinance, which would require the United States to approve and publish, and that takes a long time, instead of doing that, this allows the council, based on the council's recommendation, only the council can recommend a prohibition on malt liquor, only the council. And if the council doesn't make the recommendation, then the commission can't do it. So only the council can recommend it. And then the commission can adopt the regulations. And there's a difference between legislation and administrative regulations. And so using that, this actually allows the tribe greater authority than it had before to make rules prohibiting the sale of certain beverages without waiting months or years for the Secretary of the Interior to approve it. So this structure, which was carefully considered by the Tribal Council and approved by the Tribal Council, allows for what you would call administrative rulemaking, as long as it's consistent with Ordinance 48 and as long as the council is the one that proposes the rules. So I know it seems a little bit different, but it's designed to allow the tribe to have even more authority, not less authority. It's designed to allow rulemaking without waiting months or years for the Secretary of the Interior to approve. And the Secretary of the Interior has approved this rulemaking authority, so this resolution just puts it in the process. It gets it going so that the tribe can make this rule and it will be enforceable immediately upon adoption without waiting months or years for the Secretary of the Interior to approve.
Okay, this is Mrs. Hall again. Thank you for that explanation. I understand what you're doing. So this would be like a regulation that was published in the Federal Register to say this is how we are going to administratively enact the purpose of the law, which is Ordinance 48. So I understand that. Thank you.
Thank you for, making me do a better job explaining that, because I don't think I did the first time. So thank you.
Mr. Russo?
Thanks, Mr. Gunn. That great points my colleague brought up. She hit the nail on the head. We always do stuff in the name of saving time, but there's not one thing we've done to save time since I've been on the tribal council. besides run off the superintendent. You know, that's the only thing I've seen that was expeditiously done. And the only thing we stood on then was the treaties or the self-determination, the Indian Reorganization Act. These laws they undermine our sovereignty. They undermine our authority as a tribal government. They undermine the IRA Constitution that we took an oath to defend, in addition to our treaties. So we don't need the federal register. We don't need the federal laws because we have our own laws. We have our own ordinances. So if we want to make a law here and prohibit anything, then we take an action here at council and we do it. And then we enforce it. We have our own court system to enforce it. Yeah, we can only charge up to 12 months in jail per count. Well, that's still us enforcing our authority, our sovereign authority. So, nice explanation. You know, I really seen, kind of had a vision, and you know, I can move away, take my family, and go get a retirement pension. Come back in 20 years, and I'm gonna be sitting with a whole different body of government, people at this body. There probably won't be anyone else on this council the same. And I have that luxury as a young man. It's selfish for me to think that way, but that's kind of hard not to be selfish when people are dying in your district and you're fighting as hard as you can to save them, and they're still dying because no one else wants to work with you to save lives. You know, but we take this action here, nice resolution. We're gonna save all kinds of time by delegating our authority to the ABC Commission so they can decide whether or not they think something's harmful. And the ABC Commission is us. It's a small portion of us that was handpicked by the chairman. So God forbid we elect a chairman that keeps directors in these positions to put everyone on hospice care and all these other, you know, ailments and ignoring the needs of our members. It's horrible. The condition of our tribal members, what we're going through. People are really dying in my district. I don't know about my colleagues, but my district, people are really dying because of the omission to act, just complete ignorance and negligence by the hands of tribal directors that just aren't doing enough.
Point of order, are you gonna tear down our chairman and directors this whole time or talk about this resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Rose, for getting me back on track, but this is very important stuff. You're not old enough to know, but you'll learn one day.
Madam Secretary, please call for the vote. Council, keep in mind, this is our law. We made this ordinance, and we're following the law that we created. So keep that in mind. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please take the roll.
Please. No, I just want, there's a difference between a committee and a commission. The ABC Commission is a standalone commission, and I think that's where we're getting sidetracked at. That this has to go back to the commission because it is a separate committee of the tribe, a commission. So that's where the difference stands here, just like the Tarot Commission. The Tarot Commission is separate from a committee. So yes, it is separate. And I do support lowering the alcohol content. However, I don't support upping the taxes every time we turn around. And if we're going to keep taxing alcohol the way we are and the rate we are, we better be taxing the marijuana. The Cannabis Commission better do that too. Thank you.
Bryce in the Woods.
And that's with amendments, right? Pass with amendments.
Go ask the commission, Bryce. Go ask the commission.
So those amendments are clear, Mr. Gunn? The motion is passed with amendment? Yes.
Steve Moran.
Yes.
Ted Knife Jr. Absent John Kessler. Absent Kenrick Dupree. Yes. Sharon Lee.
Yes.
Mary Miller.
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell.
Yes.
Thad Rose.
Yes.
Derek Bartlett.
Yes.
Francine Hall.
Yes.
Joe Banks Plenty.
Uh,
Bob Walters. Absent. Ron Russo. Tuffy Thompson. Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tribal Council. Thank you, Mr. Gunn. That's a great move into saving our people. Council, at this time, we will go on to our next resolution. We'll give the floor to Attorney General Craven. And we should go into executive session on this to wrap this up. Got a motion by Ms. Haskell, second by Ms. Lee. All in favor, raise your hand. The 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Council will go into executive session at this time, and we'll ask the members of the public, give us some time.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Secretary, what was the vote on that? What we just voted on?
11 yes, 1 abstain, 3 absent.
Thank you.